Happy Friday, guys. Welcome in to the McInnis Picks live stream. Andrew here. I'm going to have Jeff Dawson joining me in just a second. I'm excited on all kinds of notes, guys. The first reason I'm excited today, we have a 5% CFL best bet going. You can get that over at wagertalk.com, but you can also get 7 days for $77 over at wagertalk.com as well. I'm also excited because this is the first day of meaningful hockey, of real hockey. First day of the NHL regular season, kicking off at 1 p.m. Eastern over in Prague, as the Devils will take on the Buffalo Sabres. So lots of reasons to be excited about. And of course, I'm excited to get the best team totals we possibly can out of Jeff Dawson. Not always just team totals, but that's usually what I'm trying to pick his brain with. So looking forward to diving into NFL Week 5, guys. Try and make some money with that. But also the CFL, don't forget about it, guys. Big play going tonight. Doubleheader, Friday Night Lights. And like I said, why get one play for $35? You can get 7 days of all sports, all plays that I release for $77 every single play. No coupon code needed. That expires, I believe, by next Tuesday. So if you want 7 days, 7 plays, $77, get that now over at wagertalk.com. All right, let's bring in Mr. Jeff Dawson. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. Kind of a Christmas morning for you. I've known a big hockey fan. I looked at it, and yes, we actually have a team total on that game. But I want to talk about the team totals for a second, because someone reached out to me this week, and in our lanes, someone that's been in our lanes for 30 plus years, because I've been catching your shows and I've been hearing a lot of team totals. Can you tell me why? And anyone new that doesn't follow us, it's simple. Around the COVID time, the world stopped for a year and a half. We kept doing what we do, but as it progressed, as more states became legalized, it seemed like the market got tough and tougher. So we try to zig when they zag. Try to set trends, don't follow trends. And so what we started to do was go into a market that is less walked on, less trampled on, and that's the team totals. You and I have been talking about for years now. Why pay the juice on a favorite when we can get plus money on a team total, if it makes sense, obviously, Andrew? And again, the thought process is, when you're looking at these team totals, when they give you the 3.5 juiced over, minus 120, that's the carrot. When they give you the 3.5 juiced under, that's the carrot. Vegas is trying to lead you to a side. So you see over, I'm taking over. You see under. And I'm going to just go perfect example. And listen, October baseball is crazy. We know that. We gave out the Mets team total over 3.5 last night, plus $100. They were juiced 3.5 under, minus 120, and the Brewers were 3.5 over, minus 130. And my point is, going through the first 8 innings, it was an X. It was an X. And next thing you know, they get the 3-run homer by Alonso. And now I'm saying in my head, just get one guy on and give us a shot. And it ends up 4-2. So I told you earlier this week on the Brewers-Mets game as well. When you like the over, I like the Mets team total over. And I says, the other beauty of team totals is you're taking one of the variables out. And so I don't care what the Brewers do, just get me to my team total, and then we change the game.
You're just worried about one team. There's just one team that you have to stress about, and luckily that one did work out for the both of us. I believe in that game in particular, the over hit and your team total hit. But yeah, I mean, and honestly, Jeff, there's kind of no better feeling as well when that team ends up losing. Like, I mean, if you want the team you took to win the game, but that's especially in baseball, but in hockey as well. If you've got a team over 3.5 and they lose like 5-4, It's a great feeling. They're 4-4 going into overtime, and you're thinking, you know what? I'm good. I already cashed my ticket because of that. And like you said, I think the biggest reasoning behind it for me, at least, and you spoke a lot about it, is price wise, right? Like, we don't want to spend too much time on the math of it, but when it comes down to it, we've talked about it before, where the win percentage you need in order to be a profitable bettor, when every bet you lay is minus 120 versus if every bet you lay, you're on is plus 105, is drastically different. The win clip that you have to have. I was talking about the nerfies and the yerfies with a friend of mine yesterday, and I was saying to him that, when the nerfies were doing well, people were all taking the favorites, right? Like, no, not a lot of people were taking plus money nerfies, right, Jeff? So when the nerfies started to lose, the books were collecting, because they were collecting on these minus 140s, 150s, no run first innings. And the fact is, it's what's the ratio of people that were betting the Yerfie versus the Nerfie? It's like, what, 99-1? You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of people were betting these Yerfies. And you look at the postseason, the Yerfies hitting, and it's a lot of the times it's about the price that you're getting. And I think you'd agree with, in the NFL as well. We're going to talk about some team totals for today. A lot of the time as well, it's about getting that better number. If you see a certain team heavily favored, or they're laying a ton of points, there's so many times where that team might not cover their point spread, but they might get you to that number that you need to get to.
Yeah, and you said something very important here, because minus 110, okay, if it is usually the number, okay, for a side or an over-under, okay? So if you place 20 wagers during the week and you go 10-10 at minus 110, you lose 1 unit. Minus 120 for the most people is okay. I'm okay with spending minus 120. If you go 10-10, which, hey, it's a week, you were grinding. Hey, I went 500. I went 10-10. Well, at minus 120, you lost 2 units that week. And then, of course, you can do the math. Minus 130 is 3 units. So my point is, I think the number is 52.3, 52.4. If you hit 52 let's just say 4 over the year, you're going to break even and make a little money. Anything over that 53 to 54%, you're sharp. And anything over 54%, you're supposed to be making bank here. So again, the juice does add up. I've talked till we're blue in the face here. Hey, I want some action. I'm going to do a $25 parlay Monday through Sunday. That's 25 times 7 is what my math here, 5, 6, $175. If you go 0-7, that's wins. So the juice adds up over every day, every week, and every month. And then you don't want to start to play the chasing game, Andrew. That's all.
And that's the biggest thing, like you said, like, if you have a 1-1 night tonight, but both plays you put in were plus money, you're just good. You're break even. You know what I mean? If you have a 1-1 night and both plays are minus 135, you're not happy. You lost money on that night. So, Jeff, here we are in week 5 already in the NFL. At this point, not just from a team total perspective, but at what point do you say a team that you might not have thought was going to be that good is better than you thought? And at what point do you say a team that you thought was going to be pretty good that's not playing up to their standards right now? I mean, is week 5 a good time to start thinking about that? Or is it a time where you think this team is overachieving? We're going to look the other way? Because I always find that week 5 and 6 seems to be those weeks where people kind of put their foot down and take a stance on these teams. They're like, nope, they're frauds. They're not very good. Or, like, I honestly found that the Thursday night game of this week was a very good example of that. You had half the crowd that didn't believe in Tampa, and you had half the crowd that didn't believe in Atlanta anymore. What are your thoughts on that as a whole conceptually here in week 5 in the NFL?
The season doesn't start till the bye weeks, and the bye weeks start here. And of course, we have our first game in London I know a lot of people in our lanes that don't start officially wagering until this week. They have a full month of data. What's the NFL stand for? Not for long, right? It seems like in every other week. The Chiefs, miraculously 4-0. They were a toe from losing opening day to the Ravens. They were a PI, 4th and 16, from losing to the Bengals. They've lost Pacheco. They've lost Hollywood Brown. Now they've lost Racey Rice. They're 4-0, and Mahomes ain't even playing well. So flip the switch, and I look in the Minnesota Vikings. I did not expect this. I expected regression. They drafted McCarthy. They were going to transition from Cousins to McCarthy. He gets hurt. In comes Sam Darnold. And I did not think that they would be that good. The Buffalo Bills, 3-0, moved up to number one in some people's rankings. Get steamrolled by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens last week. Now they got to travel to Houston. And Houston has not been playing good. I expected some regression there. They're muscling through some stuff. It's going to be real interesting on that game there. The Jets showed some flashes 2 Thursdays ago against the Patriots, and then they lay an egg against Denver. Miami, due to Tua, is just a shell of themselves. Now he's saying he might be back for week 8. So I think the thought process is every week is an independent and different week, but you can take into perspective a team that looks great last week generally doesn't look as great this week. And it's kind of funny because I have the team totals on one side and I have the lines on the other. And when we break down a couple of games, there's actually 3 sides that I actually like today, teams that have not looked good, but I think it's a good spot to buy this week.
Awesome. Okay, I look forward to getting into those. Again, guys, we're here every single Friday, so you guys can leave a like on YouTube or share and repost, retweet on Twitter. I'm on Jeff's channel on, I think, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, starting next week. You guys can find us breaking down some NHL. We'll give a little bit of CFL and NFL still, but that show will probably be more NHL based, as the Tuesdays are going to be jam-packed. So look forward to being on Jeff's channel for the real opening day of the NHL. Today is the opening day, but it's the real opening day. And we're here on my channel every day, every week on Fridays. But Jeff, you mentioned you had several picks for us. We got to start with one here that I find very interesting, and I love seeing a team off a victory that's a strong win. I don't know if we can really call it that big of an upset, but the Ravens, right? You just talked about it. You know, they seem to be the contrarian play. You know, everybody loved Buffalo apparently in that game, and then of course you saw a lot of people jumping in on the Ravens as that number got a little bit better, and kind of as the data started to come in there. The Ravens wire to wire win, and they got the job done. But the Bengals have not been a good first few weeks team in years. So you know how talking heads are, you know how the media are. No matter what happens, they're gonna create some agendas and narratives about these teams. But then there's going to be people that say, well, you know what? I don't care if they're going to get better every week. This still is not enough points for a team that struggled defensively. And it is true. I mean, you look at last week, they were close to not even covering last week. But do you think the Bengals can cover this week? Do you think the Bengals are a bet on team, whether it's side or team total in this matchup?
Well, you say, I say October is for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because this is the time of year they start to roll and get into playoff form. It's the same thing with the Bengals. Don't forget the drama with Jamar Chase in the offseason. T. Higgins, quote unquote, hurt, just finally getting back. Now they're home. I'm not going to use the word must win, but this is a must win for the Bengals. And excuse me, their problem this year has been their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed. And in comes the Henry looked like the next coming. I mean, first play off the shoot last Sunday was 80-yard touchdown run. One of my plays here. We actually right now opened at 1.5, now 2.5 at the circle with a 49. We bought the hook. We have the Bengals +3, -120. We have them +118, as Kelly likes to say, on the money line. And we have their team total over 23.5, minus the 120. I think the Ravens will be able to move the ball, but I think that sense of urgency, that the month of October, and I like Cincinnati in this spot at home, not only to cover, but to get the win.
I like it. I like it. I'm right there with you on this one, and that's what I love about handicapping. And we talk about it in the CFL all the time, right? I think there's been multiple times in the CFL this season where I had a 5% play on one team one week. The next week, I had a 5% play against that very team the following week. Every week's a new week with how you feel. A lot of Ravens backers from last week are going to look real smart when they're taking the Bengals this week and they cash back-to-back tickets, betting on and then against the same exact team. So I like that reference there, Jeff, with Winnipeg. And then now, each team kind of has their MO. Each team kind of has the way they are. It's kind of like the Tampa Bay Lightning in the NHL, They get it going after Christmas time, and then they kind of take their foot off the gas pedal before the playoffs, and they're always ready to go. I mean, every team, you can kind of figure out who they are and when they're going to start to shine. But, man, they needed that win last week, and then they need a win this week as well in order to kind of revitalize their seasons here and get going. I'm going to throw one more at you, and then I'll let you kind of just go after it here. The Jets, I'm curious. This seems to be a game that there's been all kinds of different opinions on it, or this Jets team overall, I'd say. And you talk about the Vikings and what they've done this season. Do you think that it's that much of a contrarian play? Like, I don't think it should be. Apparently it is at this point. But for reference point, we're getting 2.5 on both of these teams. I wouldn't talk anybody out of a teaser with both the Bengals and the Jets, but do you think the Jets are a team to look at this week, especially off how they performed last week? I don't think we get back-to-back disappointing efforts out of that team.
Are you looking at my sheet? I mean, do you have? This is amazing. The Jets opened up 2.5 minus 110 with a 42. Now it's Minnesota 2.5 with a 40. Again, we remember what we saw last for Minnesota. They just keep on trucking, and that's what they've done. And big boy win last week in Green Bay. Great first half by the offense, and then they held on tight as Jordan Love got some of that rust off and a lot of garbage points. Great for the fantasy people. Here, what we did was, again, we bought the hook. We have the Jets +3 minus 120. We have +117 on the money line on the Jets, and we have their team total over 19.5 +105. People remember what they saw last, a wet, dreary Meadowlands, and Denver walking off with a 10-9 win. And again, a hard-fought divisional game, undefeated Minnesota Vikings. And I guess we could say tongue-in-cheek, the Sam Darnold revenge game here now in London here as he gets to face the Jets here. I think we'll see more of the Jets, how they looked against the Patriots. I expect the offense to be real well. I expect a decent game from Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Expect Garrett Wilson to find the end zone. Tyler, the tight end Conklin has been playing better, and expect a lot better defense from the Jets here. So not only do I expect them to cover this game, I expect them to leave London with a win and to give the Vikings their first loss.
I love to hear it. I was planning on asking you today if you thought in that game in particular it would be better off to just play the team total, but you're confident that it's fine to look at the spread and the money line on that game. That to me seems like one of those ones where I like it. I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I almost just don't even want to worry about what the Vikings do. Can you see where I'm coming from with that, just based on how they've played so far?
I think the problem is, again, that 19 and a half. We gave out Texas State team total yesterday, 19 and a half over in the first half, and they scored 28 points. 19 and a half is one of those weird numbers where you just race into 20 and you feel very comfortable. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals here. It was a 42, now down to a 40. Like last night's game, I think this game can go two ways. This could be a hard-fought 17-13, 17-14 game where the Jets D shines and they play keep away with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. But again, sometimes in London, you get those quirky back and forth, both teams scoring games. But I think the key to success, obviously, is Rodgers, number one, but number two, the Jets defense. They've shown where they've been ranked in the top 3 all season, but they've had some brain farts. So again, I think Rodgers and the offense will dictate how the defense, because I think Rodgers thinks that they can get a shootout here if they want, but I think Salah and company would rather feel more comfortable. Hey, 2017, and we're heading back home.
And that's the biggest question. You mentioned it there, and that's the biggest question that I have about Aaron Rodgers. And I always say this. This is from a Green Bay Packers fan that watched him for years. Does he ever try and do too much? You know, we know what he's capable of. We know what he can do. We know how effortless he makes everything look. But if he has a wide open Breece Hall for a 10-yard pass for the clear first down, Jeff, but he has a small chance of hitting Mike Williams 35 yards down the field, what do you think he's doing? Right? And that's the problem, is that he does not like the simple play all the time. And I felt like even last week, it kind of hurt them a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I know what he's capable of. I know how good he is. And I think that we've already seen the difference with this Jets team when they actually have a serviceable quarterback. I've seen it. But I do find that, like, all this team ever really needed was a quarterback that will make the right decisions. Of course, there's some big throws he's made already. But sometimes I worry with that guy is like, just make the right play, you know? Don't try and overcomplicate things.
And you saw that Aaron Rodgers 2 Thursdays ago against the hapless Patriots. And then I think it was one of these, it's rainy, and there was one of these, lethargic. It's Denver. They're not going to score a lot of points. Therefore, 13-10, 14-10, we're going to beat them. Well, they lost 10-9. Legatron misses a field goal late for the win there. So now they had to sit in there, for a week. Yeah, travel to London. If you can get the Aaron Rodgers that you're talking about making those right decisions. Hey, let's get the first down. Let's move the chains. He was rolling out of the pocket left and right and looking like vintage Rodgers. Last week, he was just like, it's raining. I don't even want to be here. That was the disengaged Rodgers. Now, Minnesota comes out like they did against the Packers and punches his team in the mouth. I don't know what you will get, because I think what you saw from the Packers is resilience. You saw a young team, a Jordan Love team that's trying to recreate his name and his brand. And I don't think you'll see that with a 40-year-old Rodgers. Like, if they're down 14-17-3, I could see him check right out here. So that first quarter, that first half is going to be imperative. And a loss in London, an ugly loss. And I think you're going to start hearing Salah's going to go. He's the problem, because there's a disengagement with Rodgers and Salah. And most experts say the reason they lost was Sean Payton outcoached Salah. So a loss here to Kevin O'Connell and company, I think Salah's days are numbered.
And people are going to take the side of the veteran quarterback. I do think that they're in bounce back mode here. We just looked at two teams that are in kind of a contrarian position a little bit here, coming off a loss there with the Jets, playing a red-hot Vikings team, and, of course, the Ravens. Awesome win for them. Primetime game, primetime win over the Bills, and now they're taking on the Bengals, who have struggled. Who'd they beat? The Panthers? I mean, who cares about that win? We'll find out if that means anything going into this week. Before we jump into any other games, I got to ask, Jeff, I know you're not a huge teaser guy. I don't hear you talk about them too much, but that does seem like a pretty good spot, getting 2 in the hook, right? Get that up to 8.5, both teams. I mean, if you like both games, if you're getting the 8.5, it's hard not to like that, right?
No, it makes all the sense in the world. You're getting it over that touchdown. And so, I don't talk a lot of teasers because teasers are what exactly they are, is a tease sometimes where they look great on paper. They look great before opening kickoff. Then at halftime, you're like, oh my God, what did I do
How
here?
did this happen? How did this
Yeah.
happen?
So both games are supposed to be tight. Both games are supposed to come within one score. So getting that 8.5 on both the Jets and the Bengals does make a lot of sense.
Guys, make sure you're following Jeff on X at EC Sports Invest. You can see it right there on the screen, of course, on the scroller right below us as well. He's doing more shows than I could even list out for you guys right now, but all kinds of content Monday through Friday, and also has a website, eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. So make sure you're checking out all of his work. And I'm always thankful that Jeff sends me his picks every single day. I'm always cheering for him. And sometime I'm in action as well with you, Jeff. And you always know when I'm in action because I'll shoot you a message, and I always appreciate it. Very, very grateful to be a part of that email list and get the best picks. And again, guys, 5% CFL play goes tonight. Jeff knows what it is. It's a team we've made money on this year. So we're looking forward to cashing that ticket in the CFL. Don't forget about the CFL. I know NFL is in week 5, college football full swing. CFL is still a time to make some money. And it's so funny, Jeff, because people do forget about the CFL. And I see it because the long-term all-access customers that I have for CFL, they love the end of the season because that's when, you find some of these really good numbers you can bet on. And then the people that are buying it every week daily, they're out of it. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm betting NFL now. And that's where I'm collecting the units is the end of the season, going into the postseason. I remember there was a season where I only ended up up 3 or 4 units. And, hey, up 3 or 4 units is better than nothing, right? And those 3 or 4 units were collected at the end of the season. And so the people that were with me all year buying in and out, I was win, lose, win, lose. And then week 15 to I think 19, we went on a great run. So the point is here, guys, do not forget about the CFL late in the season. Week 18 is just as important as week 1, right? I mean, and as far as betting's concerned, I think it's almost better because we have so much data to look at. But Jeff, before we jump into any more picks, what's new with you guys at ECSI?
We're doing something here. We're going to announce it first on your show. We have a show at 11 o'clock coming up, the NCAA Insiders, Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills talking college football. And at 5 o'clock, Ron Momorleski comes back talking college and NFL. But what we're doing to celebrate January 1st will be our 10-year anniversary of public service. And so what we're doing is we're giving out something second to none. We think at least, and you were just talking long term, and this is a big boy package. I like to say this is for the true long term. This is for people that are ready to buckle up, and whether it is NFL, whether it's college football, whether it's CFL, whether it's the Masters, the Kentucky Derby, I think we got something for everyone here. Starting today. We're going to offer a special from all the way through this October through the rest of 2024 and all of 2025 to give people an opportunity to get 15 months of VIP ECSI service. Every pick, every breakdown sent to your cell phone via text and emailed as you get on a daily basis for $9.99. And if you go to our website, you see we offer a $99 a month VIP special, which is $3 a day. You do see a $375 a month. That's the retail price for people that just want to hop on board, try us out for a month, see what you like. But with this 15-month rest of 2024 and all of 2025, you are basically getting another 33% off. And so it really comes down to about $1.75 a day for the next 15 months to help us celebrate our anniversary for our 10-year anniversary on January 1st, 2025. You can do it two ways. You can jump on Twitter at EC Sports Invest, send me a DM, say, Jeff, I'm in, or send us an email to eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com.
Awesome. And I've seen you profit in several sports, not one, not two, but several sports. And like we talked about, managing that bankroll, a lot of plus money plays coming out of the email list that I'm always looking forward to hopping on. And I will say, Jeff, I love looking at the futures that you release. So anybody out there that likes futures, Jeff definitely takes care of you with the futures as well. All right, a few more minutes. Anything else you want to just send out for us with the NFL? We talked about a couple games, but my Packers, are they going to bounce back? This Patriots team, are they going to keep losing? What do you think about the rest of NFL Week 5?
Well, I got the stench of the week here. That was the third play. On Monday, Bill Krakenberg comes onto our show, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. We roll him out of bed, and as the dust settles, he does a weekend recap. We talk food, slot machines, and on this past Monday, he did a first. He goes, Jeff, in 90 seconds, I'm going to give out a live play, and I promise you within 30 seconds, we're going to make the market move. And he gave out the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5, and within 30 seconds, they dropped down to 3. So I'm looking at the board right now, and I see a flat 3. Washington open -1, now -3, with a 42.5, now 43.5 at the Circa. This is a hold your nose, play it, set it, and forget it. We bought the hook. We got the Browns. Actually, we bought it on Monday, so we didn't need the hook. But we get the Browns at 3.5. We got plus 146 on the money line. We know what Jaden Daniels has looked like. He is the real deal. Cliff Kingsbury has helped them out so much on the offensive side. Defense is playing pretty damn good. They walked into Arizona and just steamrolled Kyler Murray. Now they come home reading the press clippings, and the Browns have been pathetic. Deshaun Watson has been awful. This is one of these games, again, you just play it and you watch something else, because on paper, this looks like a total mismatch. But we got the Browns plus 3.5. And as Kelly likes to say, we sprinkled a little pizza and beer money on the plus 146 on the money line.
Well, I led the show off by talking about Week 5, right, and how important it is. And I feel like that play you just gave out, the Bengals play, right, and even the Jets, a lot of this is going against what people have seen lately, right? It's a what have you done for me lately league, but also the point spreads will overreact. The people will overreact. The Browns, and you're right, when you bet on the Browns, you're never gonna say at halftime, well, this game's over, I won already. You're waiting until there's 2 minutes to go in that game for you to be sweating that out with every Browns game that we see. My stench of the week, Jeff, and I'm not sure if this will end up being a release or not. My stench, Giants. The Giants versus the Seahawks. I'm seeing what that number will get to at the latest point. The Giants. NHL, for anybody still with us live right now, of course, hopefully a lot of you guys are watching throughout the weekend for some NFL picks. But NHL today, look, plus 105 on the Devils to get to 4, Jeff. Can we agree on that one a little bit? That was a free play for me. I didn't get to the window with clients. Plus 105, get to 4 goals, or are you on the Sabres side?
I swear to God, you got my paper today. I swear to God, you got my paper. That 100% is a play. Devils, team total over the 3.5 plus 105, 100%.
I'll be sweating that out. I'll be streaming a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream the entire game, but I'll be live watching hockey. I cannot wait. And that is an official free play, but that will not count towards my regular season record over at Wager Talk. All right, guys, $77 for 7 days of all access plays. You see that right below your screen. 5% CFL bet goes tonight. Thank you to Jeff for joining me as always, and I'll be on his channel for for Tuesday's massive NHL slate at 10 a.m. Eastern. All the best, guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.